And hey, everybody, Doc's back for another quick edition of Doc's Taking on the Mormish. And we are live in the clinic today, and we found something that I think we are all going to enjoy. We have the so confused and just ignorant in what she's telling people. Yashandra Akashana L. Rose Bay, the Supreme Judiciary of the so-called Moorish National Republic Federal Government Northeast Maxim Territory in Dominions. Okay, she is the Moorish American Consulate, which doesn't exist. All right. So this caught my attention. This video hit yesterday, and she's talking about nationality is what she's talking about. Now, before I show you this video, we're gonna talk about nationality. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what nationality is, and I'm hoping this will share just I couldn't do it any other way. So let me show you this. So did a neat little search, used Bing, of course. Google works too. They both produce the same. So here we have from the dictionary, nationality, the status of belonging to a particular nation. Now, when you're born here in the United States, you are automatically granted United States citizenship. You're also a citizen of that state you were born in or live in, and your nationality is that of you're an American. That's what you are. You live in the United States of America. You're an American. You belong to the United States of America. Okay, perfect example right here. They changed their nationality and became Lebanese, synonymous with citizenship. Okay, citizenship. So if you're changing your citizenship or your nationality to be a Moor, well, don't you think you kind of need to do that in Morocco? And they're not called Moors, they're called Moroccans. Okay. And number two, an ethnic group forming a part of one or more political nations. All the main nationalities of Ethiopia. Okay. So a political group. That's or an ethnic group. Forming a part or one or more political nations. I do apologize. Synonymous with ethnic group, ethnic minority, tribe, clan, race, nation. So, and again, we have it right here, nationality. This comes from Wikipedia. Nationality is a legal identification of a person in international law, establishing that person as a subject, a national of a sovereign state. It affords the state jurisdiction over the person and affords the person the protections of the state against other states. So let's look at the United States of America real quick. We're a constitutional republic. Our idea of a republic was that of Rome. Rome was formed of many city-states. Pretty much the same thing of the United States of America. We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. Within that, the identification of a person in international law established the person as a subject of a nation. Okay, so that means you're a citizen. Subject, they use that. But if you look down here again, we have citizenship, multiple citizenship. Okay, so you're a national, or you're established as a subject, a national of a sovereign state. So yes, you're a United States citizen because you're born in the United States. You're granted that citizenship, but you're also a citizen of a sovereign state. That's why our states all have their own constitutions. Why states have their own laws. Okay, just like in Rome, in the Roman Empire, they had the same thing. They had the Roman Empire law, imperial law, and then there was city-state law. So there was both. All right. And what that does, and what these moops we will soon listen to forget, is it affords the state jurisdiction over the person. And it affords the person the protection of the state against other states. That's why we have laws. There's countries that have extradition treaties with other countries to, extradite criminals back to that country to stand trials. Some countries don't have them. If you make it to that country, as long as you don't break the law there, you're good. They don't care. Japan is one of them. They do not extradite or have an extradition treaty with the United States of America. South Korea does. So that's what that means. So again, it does deal with citizenship, multiple citizenship, dual citizenship as a legal status in which a person is concurrently regarded as a national or a citizen of more than one country under the laws of those countries. Conceptual citizenship is focused on, and you can go into the law. Citizenship is the relationship between an individual and the state to which the individual owes allegiance and in turn is entitled to its protections. Each state determines the conditions under which it will recognize a person as its citizen. Okay. So we have it. We have the federal level, the national, and then we have the state level as well. And to be a state citizen, you have to live in that state. All right. You usually have a state driver's license or a state ID. You register your car in that state. You switch your home insurance to that state. Things like that. You get when you register your car, you change your car's registered. So if you're still paying on it, your car gets retitled, new registration. So that's how that works. So let's go right into this. Let's get back here. And like I said, I just got this video. I had to, when I saw it, I was like, yes, we have to, we have to show this today. And again, you guys are going to love this.
Islam Wars. I would love for you to share this video.
So what this is going to be is 28 minutes of her pretty much talking in circles, talking about nationality, which we just went over. So take that in pretense. I'm gonna let you listen to a lot of what she has to say, and you know me, I'll put my little funny, funny things in there as well, because we got some.
Video. I'm going to try to be very, very professional and very, very matter of fact. This is a introduction to nationality status correction. This is an introduction to nationality status correction.
So I have a question. It's a introductory course into nationality status correction. So basically what she's talking about is pretending to renounce your citizenship, but not renouncing your citizenship. And that's what people forget. None of these people that peddle this crap have renounced their U.S. citizenship. The reason for that is they'd be countryless, stateless. They wouldn't have a leg to stand on if they did that, because they would have to have another country to be deported to actually go to. And the only people that can actually change your status is the State Department. So again, pretense and all this, they have no legal authority, no power whatsoever to do what they're talking about.
And I've been getting this call, this question from a lot of different Moors. I've been getting this question from a lot of different Moors. So Islam, this is Yashar and Akasha El-Rose Bey, Supreme Judiciary for the Moorish National Republic Federal Government, Northeastern Maxim Territories and Dominions.
Jesus Christ.
Sovereign theocratically. It is not incorporated, it is not an LLC. It is declared through our sovereign abilities as heirs and as natives or Indians.
Dumbass! You dumbass! You're a dumbass! Such a dumbass!
Hi. Please share this video. This video is for individuals who are thinking about nationality and aren't quite sure what to expect.
Oh, we're going to share this video because this is hilarious.
This video is for individuals who have questions as it relates to status correction. And I'm going to place this particular video on the website just to clarify certain things, because we get calls in for like informational purposes as it relates to what is entailed as it relates to status correction, what is entailed as it relates to nationality. Now, most of the time, by the time you come into my end bin as it relates to the Supreme Judiciary, one of the Supreme Judiciaries, there are two Supreme Judiciaries and two territorial judiciaries, as well as a
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Opening up consulates in all of the different republics to assist Moors in.
So what she's considering republics are the states. Okay. They and sovereign citizens, again, they play from the same playbook. There's a little bit more mysticism in the MOOPS theory because of Drew Thomas L. Noble Bay. But they hold no power. They can open up these consulates all they want, but none of them are recognized. None of them are legal. None of the paperwork they file is legal. And again, like I said, only the State Department can change your status as to a foreign national, or you have to go through the State Department to change your citizenship status. You don't just change it with them and submit it and say, oh, I took it down to the courthouse and they stamped it and it's in the notary, it's in the public record, and all these people have been notified. No, none of those people have been notified. None of these other departments anywhere in the government have been notified.
Clarifying and gaining control of their estate planning. But in order for us to do that, we have to express to you, Moors, what it is to nationalize and what it is not, what it does not mean. So there's a lot of individuals out there who, as it relates to nationality, who feel as though the question, for instance, will be, they comprehend the tiers, but I do not fully comprehend. This is an individual who sent an email. I do not fully comprehend how my day-to-day affairs will be affected once I proclaim my Moorish nationality.
So let me tell you, she's talking about Moorish, saying you're a Moor, which will get you nothing. Your daily affairs aren't going to change. You're still going to have to pay your taxes. You're still going to have to pay your car payment. You're still going to have to pay your mortgage. You're still going to have to go to work. You're going to have to pay the electric bill. You're going to have to pay the internet bill, the cable bill, the cell phone bill. None of that changes because you decided to take some fake title, some made up name. Now, Van and Truth 151 did a great video talking about that whole Bay and Day thing. I don't think they fully comprehend what that means. Those were titles like governors and commanders. Those titles were given to them by the higher ups in the Ottoman Empire. Which again, if you do some research, they were the oppressors of the Moors. That's why they were wearing those neat little fezzes. Again, they don't understand what they're peddling. They're taking bits and pieces and trying to put it together and make this hodgepodge. So here we go. Let's hear her explanation.
Overstand, you are already on the.
Also, overstand, because they think understand means you're under somebody's standing on you. I don't even think understand is a word. Maybe there is. Okay, overstand, one pronunciation, verb to stand overly, formally, especially so as to guard or intimidate, to stand higher than or above. University, to be overstanding for honors, to be ineligible for honors in an examination because more than the permitted number of terms, normally 12, has elapsed since one's matriculation, which is thinking, I believe that's what that means. So, and here there's another one. To understand means you acknowledge something. To overstand means you've moved past acknowledgement, wherein then it's part of your conscious being. But listen, these words are so limiting, so I try to do my best, the best I can. If you overstand, then you feel me, they say. The hand is quicker than the eye. Again, this came from a website called dest.com, threads, overstand versus understand. It's a transitive verb to keep on a navigational course beyond a mark, to overstand. So, and that came out of the Merriam-Webster dictionary. So I have a better understanding of the word, taking it from a Merriam-Webster dictionary, the Urban Dictionary, and we'll get back to the video here. To overstand is to comprehend a thing itself and to have knowledge of why it is the way it is and of its place or role in the grand scheme of things. Now, I can understand that even from the Urban Dictionary. I can understand, overstand that. You know, you comprehend, you understand it, you know what you need to do, and you have knowledge of it. So it's kind of like saying, you know, an auto mechanic overstands the importance of changing your oil. That would make sense. And there's another definition from the Free Dictionary. Overstand is to have knowledge, therefore power over an idea or concept, whereas understand is not used because it implies a lack of mastery of knowledge because it is over you. Okay. Again, so there's really, I get the one for the tentative verb to keep on a navigational course, but again, this is how they confuse people.
The chessboard of life, in partaking in commercial activities, you're just not a beneficiary as it relates to knowing what to do. You don't know what to do. You're learning about status correction. You have Moors all over the continent that are assisting you in regards to nationality. Let me tell you this.
Those same Moors are getting arrested for fictitious plates, no registration, fake IDs, illegal IDs, no driver's license, racking up tons of charges. Yeah, they're the ones you want helping you with this fictitious BS government.
Until you completely correct your status, don't make any major changes as it relates to how you operate or how you navigate here within Northwest of Mexum.
That again, she's wrong. This is not Northwest of Mexum. So if you're to type, where is Northwest of Mexum, the first thing that comes up is popularass.net, and you get this thing: love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. These archaeological finds, referring to the Olmec head stone carvings, are of the ancient natural people. And then the very next one is a Moorish Empire of Northwest of Mexum, the home, in a Wix site. Looks like a free website. There's a Moorish news.file WordPress. And then there's there's another one that's really called the New African 77.wordpress.com. America is not a Mexum. What did Noble Drew, again, there is no such place. A lot of these things that have been pushed to the top are because what they're doing is they're either, some of them are pretty smart and just keep searching the same thing over and over and over again, so it keeps pushing it to the top. I just found another one, Aboriginal Moors of a Mexum, Empress in America. That's not true. There is no empress living in America. Moorish National Public Records. And again, what's funny is the Urban Dictionary, which you can get anything added to the Urban Dictionary. They say a Mexum is one of the many historical names of the landmass that includes North, Central, and South America, as well as the surrounding islands. They say the other name is El Morocco. That's not true. This land has never been called El Morocco. And then there's one that says a Mexum is a platform which helps you tackle life's greatest problems with proven ancient solutions. That is a Moorish site as well. So I'm going to share this link from New African 77 and let you read this. This was done back in 2016 when this really started to take place. She's got a little thing that says 250 million years old piece of Africa found in southeastern U.S. Larger portions may still be discovered. Well, there's a picture of Florida, is what it is. And again, this is not true, but she writes a really good right on this, and I was very impressed. And this is something that we'll definitely have a video about. But Northwest of Maxim doesn't exist. This is something that the false prophet Noble Drew Ali decided to come about with.
What do I mean when I say that? If you have driving privileges under a corporate contract, if you have if you work within a so-called organization as an employee, you can't effectively make those changes until, one, you declare your status correction and you complete at least tier 1. Now, there's a lot.
So now what she's talking about is this place, these people are all about money. They are fooling people so much. They want you to fill out these documents, send them in, get them notarized. You know, once you get tier 1, then you can be tier 2. And basically what it comes down to is spending a lot of money. There has actually been people that have turned around and said, this doesn't work. I want my money back. Okay. And that's what's even more funny is, you know, if you go to the site, and I'll put their Moorish American Consulate thing in the description, but they want people to pay for this. You have a Mother's Circle membership request, counselor training class request. I mean, there's all these things here, but what it is it costs you money to file this. Now they have come up with these international treaties and agreements between nations. And I know I'm going sideways off her video. It is ridiculous. Like, there is actually an email that says national status verification only, Consular Court, Morocco. They took 2 words from the Treaty of Peace and Friendship and made it that. That's never what that was supposed to be. It's, you know, again, you got to have all these forms and you got to get them sent in and you got to pay. It's, you know, again, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship doesn't exist. I've already debunked that in a video. Please check out the channel and you'll see as well. They have donations for Cash App and PayPal because they're trying to circumvent taxes is what they're doing. You know, there's an Amexum marketplace. Okay. And guess what? It's not there. It doesn't work. But what they want you to do is they want you to pay for this. They want you to do all this because, again, I'm looking right at it. When you go to it, you have the first thing is a notice of removal. Okay. That doesn't do anything for you. The writ of acceptance and execution, the writ of habeas corpus, that does nothing. So they want you to continuously spend money, and that's exactly what they do.
A lot of Moors doing a lot of different processes out there, utilizing a lot of different Moorish organizations, whether they be incorporated or sovereign. I can't make that distinction because I am operating this Moorish sovereign government. So it is in
So now we know she's one of the 2 crazies that operate this Moorish American Consulate BS.
I impress upon you, Moors, to gain knowledge as it relates to who you are commingling with, who you are contracting with, who you are aligning yourselves with. Because when you declare your nationality on the private side as it relates to the lawful notice and judicial proclamation, that is private. That is you declaring your status as it relates to your nativity.
So that's you being naive and stupid, paying to have those forms signed, notarized, whatever else they want to do. Yes, there are several different ones out there. Not only do you have this, but you have the USAR, which is the United States American Republic. They're based out of Chicago. A bunch of crazies out there too. And then you have this group, which is, I think, New Jersey.
Okay, now you have something called a public personification of you, or a public status as it relates to your estate. You were born with an estate. You have an estate. If you are indigenous to this land, you have an estate.
No, you do not have an estate. You are not indigenous to this land. The only people that are indigenous to this land are actual Native Americans. They are part of a group and their history stems back over 20,000 years ago. The proof has been found. They migrated from Asia and parts of Russia to the United States, to the landmass of the United States, over 20,000 years ago across the Great Land Bridge. It's actual fact. They came across in 3 different waves, starting 20,000 to 15,000 years ago. And those are the people that are indigenous to the land, not these whack jobs that are trying to find a way to screw over whoever they can because they think they are indigenous and they have some, some estate that's left to them or whatever. They are not indigenous.
State and your estate is tied to Northwestern Exum.
Dumbass! You dumbass! You're a dumbass. Such a dumbass. You're an ass.
You're going to start flashing your IDs around and confusing everybody because you haven't completed the administrative processes as it relates to tier 1, 2, and 3, whereas though you can affirm and that can be honored as it relates to your status.
So yes, you got to pay for each tier to certify each tier, and you're going to get a fake ID badge, a fake ID card that's going to cost you $50 on top of the cost of each tier to certify. There's a guy called the Mad Moore, the Upset Moore. A couple of guys have done videos on him, and he just talked about how much money and time he wasted. He spent over $3,000 going to different places, and nobody could show him proof that this stuff works. Nobody could. They just kept saying, oh, you got to do this, and you got to file this. None of it works. None of it does.
You're not going to go as soon as you declare your nationality on the private side with your lawful notice and your judicial proclamation. You're not going to automatically just go run over to your place of employment or to the court systems or to which are all admiralty. If you're in that court system and they're not honoring your status as a national, if they're not honoring your writs and affidavits that you put in there, it's because on the public side you haven't corrected the status, whereas though they can honor that presumption because the private and the public doesn't match. So what am I saying? As soon as you declare your nationality on the private side, you've only declared who you are as it relates to nativity. Now you have to clear up the mispresumption or the misidentification as it relates to you on the public side as it relates to your estate. What do I mean when I say that? What I mean is in the system, you're still identified as a so-called black person. Well, you can have black pride all you want. Yes,
you are identified as in that color, whatever they want to label, however they want to label it, black, African American, whatever it might be. I look at it as we're all American. So, let her continue in her crazy ways.
Sit here and say power to the people all you want, but as a so-called individual identifying as a black person as it relates to status, that means you have no status. That means you...
That's not true. That means you're a United States citizen, and you also are a state citizen.
Are under Admiralty Christian Black codes because you have... No,
you're not under Admiralty codes. I just did a video that is posted to the channel talking about the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. We went through each article and pretty much debunked anything that they have talked about or claimed. Admiralty law deals with international waters. That's what that deals with. Yes, our courts can handle those cases, but at most, it's the federal level takes that, not the state or the counties. They may handle like motorboat accidents or issues on the local lake or the river, but they don't handle international issues. That will go to the federal courts. And based upon where the ships are at, that may go to an international court to handle that. So again, they keep up bringing up Admiralty law because they think, again, that's the way it's a way to confuse people because they're like, what is that? Admiralty law? That I've never heard of that before. And so it confuses people.
Haven't declared and proclaimed your status as it relates to you being a national Moor. What do I mean when I say that? Now, they're not going to care about letting you know that you are a quasi-citizen, meaning you only have the privilege as they see and they deem fit because that status does not pass outside of that particular jurisdiction.
Now, first off, you're not a national. You're a national of the United States. We've already talked about nationality, but you're not a national of Morocco or an empire or indigenous to this land. None of that. And what's really sad is you don't know your own history, and you're putting El and Bey and Ali and Day at the end of your names, and you don't know the history of that. So, but it sounds cool because it sounds like you have some nobility. Those were titles given to governors and commanders. And yeah, they held some power, but there was only like 40 of them. It's not like there was a whole slew of them, like 3,000 of them walking around with El, Bey, Day, or whatever in their name. So again, what's coming out her mouth, nobody understands.
Because if you read and if you gain knowledge as it relates to how we identify, we are moving toward.
I looked this up, and here it is. It says, I asked, what is a national Moor? And it says, a person's nationality is where they are a legal citizen, usually in the country where they were born. Are Moors above the law? Members of the Moorish sovereigns, called Moors, have come in conflict with federal and state authorities over their refusal to obey laws and government regulations. And yes, they have. They are not a Moorish national. There's no such thing as that. The Moor title is a sect of Islam. Okay, that's really where it picked up. It is a sect of Islam that was written and put together by the mysticism and the mystic Noble Drew Ali and his thoughts of grandeur. That's where that came from. I apologize. There's just brain just gets going.
What do I want to say? Adverse claims. And an adverse claim is just not you saying, for the record, oh, I'm a Moorish American national, I challenge your jurisdiction, you don't have any authority over me. Now, I'm not trying to sit here and go too deep into actual application. I'm trying to...
Of course she won't go too deep into actual application. Because, see, what she wants you to do is be so confused, you email them, and they say, oh, yeah, you got to fill out this and this and this, and then send it back, and this is the fee for the filing, and this is... Because, guess what? Those fictitious pieces of paper that they're going to charge you for in a little bit for them to take a red stamp and chain text red and have you sign, and then they sign it and seal it, and you go get it notarized, and you put your thumbprint on it in red and send it back. You get your little stamp and thumbprint on that, which means nothing. They've probably made $100 off you and have made you spend more money while filling out all this paperwork and certifying everything that they're laughing all the way to the bank. They're like, this person just spent this money. We just got another $100 rolling in. And see, they don't have to do anything because you're dumb enough. People are dumb enough to do that and think, well, once I claim this, I'm good. Well, don't worry, because after tier 1, there's tier 2 and 3 that you got to pay for. So you got to go up those tiers. Never heard of tiers in citizenship, ever.
Express to the new Moors who are looking to declare and proclaim their nationality that you're not going to make any adjustments as it relates to how you identify until you complete the process. There's Moors out there going to different agencies that they don't even understand who they are under to get travel documents. Now, this government is responsible, and we're not going to provide you with travel documents because or travel tags until you have completed tier 1, 2, and 3. So
by the time you're done with 3, you've probably already spent $500, right? And then they're going to charge you the $50 for your ID. And they're going to charge you probably another $50 for your fake tags. That'll get you pulled over. Those tags will get removed and destroyed, and your card will get impounded. So what they have just done now is caused you a world of hurt. And because you fell for this, and they're laughing all the way to the bank because they're like, man, can you believe this? This person just fell for the biggest scam in history. You know, I've read and seen a lot of scams, but these people, take the cake. And so here, let's go. And I'm going to try to find these tiers and what the cost is for you.
We want to make sure you're competent, and we want to make sure you've completed the processes as it relates to claiming your estate. That is you on the public side as it relates to your estate, and you on the private side as it relates to you, the living being. So overstand, there are administrative processes that we want to push out there and show you guys how to do, as well as if our grievances as it relates to a civil claim against any so-called agency to the same, to give an example, the United States Service Corporation, we need to make sure we have tiers 1, 2, and 3 completed, because if you have not completed your...
I have to share this to everyone, because this, so while she's sitting there talking about, there's this thing called the grid, okay? Look at this. Nationality process, sovereign Moorish trust process, right to travel process. There is 9 tiers that you have to pay for. Yes, you have to pay for this stuff. They are going to charge you for every one of these. And I'm going to tell you what, this is a joke. This is a joke right here. Information sheet affidavit of universal commercial code. These do not work. This is that UCC 1 has nothing to do with anything. And the processing costs, right? Here we go. Let's take a look at this. So here it is. I've told you guys, it's gonna cost money. They're not stupid. They're gonna make money. Okay, so the nationality status correction, sealing, and autographs per more. Okay. $35. So if there's 3 of you dumb enough to do this, figure it out. You're gonna spend $105 right there. Moorish American Consulate recording number for nationality, $9. National and travel identification cards per dumbass, $50. If you want just an identification card only, $35. If you want travel card only, which does this again. Why you would want both, but again, $35. Writ of acceptance and execution of notice of removals per liable, case number, claim, $35. Conveyance your car tags, $45 per your car. Documents to be recorded and published on the website, per recording, per document, $15. Okay, and they're going to tell you want all this stuff. Documents just to be recorded but not placed on the website, $5. Sealing of your lawful affidavits by our judiciaries, which there's only 2, $5. To file a claim with the Moorish American Consular Court, nothing. So, there it is. There's the money. I mean, just one way for one person, you're probably going to spend $100. And this is to do this for one tier. Okay. This is what you have to do. So this is nationality tier 1. This is all tier 1 stuff you got to do. All right. Here's all your fictitious documents. This treaty, again, has nothing to do with this. Public statutes at large. Nope. Does nothing. All right. Now we come to number 2. Now you have to do all this. Okay. And this is going to cost you too. They're not going to let you do this for free. And there's several parts. Now we come down here, and here's your number 3. Every single one of these you are going to have to pay for. This will get your car pulled over because the Moroccan Empire no longer exists at all. Okay. This here, this number, oh, somebody told me what it is. But it's not a trust. It's none of that. It's BS. This will get you pulled over. Okay. Now, here's number 4. You are going to pay for all of this. Again, and here we go. We're not done yet. Here's tier 6. These do not work. It's not going to do anything for you. Okay. A bill of entitlement. And I have to admit, man, their Photoshop is good. But again, none of this works. So basically what they're trying to say in this is this invoice has been recorded with the Moorish National Republic federal government, which doesn't exist. So this doesn't exist. And they're saying under public notice in the New Jersey Republic section, so wherever that is, if the fraudulent complaint summons is not dropped, then this invoice. So basically, if somebody gets a ticket or something along with that, or a summons to court, if you don't drop it, that's what they try to file against you. But did you see what I'm talking about? You see
estate
just
planning.
how
Can you
crazy
sit
they
here
are.
and say that you are not a quasi-citizen, which is under admiralty jurisdiction
No,
and
it's not.
admiralty
She's wrong
contracts because
again.
you haven't
There's no admiralty
clarified
contracts.
or put on the record as it relates to you, the living being in your estate for which you are the beneficiary, or if it's a foreign jurisdiction, you are the trustee of. I was like, so Moors, you got to slow down. One, you got to slow down. You got to know what you're talking about. And two, you can't sit here and make any changes as it relates to corporate contracts that you currently have until you've corrected your status, not only on the private side, but also on the public side.
So you have to pay.
And knowing that the private side is what we're talking about in terms of Tier 1 on the government website, the Moorish National Republic, Federal Government, Northeast and Mexican Territories and Dominions. Tier 1 is private and public together. So once you declare and proclaim your nationality through the lawful judicial notice as the lawful notice in the judicial proclamation, that's on the private side. Now you have to go to the county.
Oh, hang on one second. I got to talk to this. So admiralty law. Okay, here's what admiralty law deals with. Or known as maritime law, is a body of law that governs nautical issues and private maritime disputes. Admiralty law consists of both domestic law on maritime activities and private international law governing the relationships between private parties. Operating or using ocean-going ships, while each legal jurisdiction usually has its own legislative governing maritime matters, the international nature of the topic and the need for uniformity has since 1900 led to considerable international maritime law developments, including numerous multilateral treaties. So, again, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She has no idea. It's shocking how little they know. And people believe this. And that's the sad part, is because people think, oh, I get my estate. I can access my estate. What estate? You have nothing there. I did this a couple days ago. They were talking about how you're straw man. So I went in Pennsylvania, where I was born, and I went in to look for corporations through the Secretary of State of Pennsylvania. There's no corporation under my name. There's not even a business under my name in the state of Pennsylvania. So how can there be a corporation under your name if there is no corporation under your name? Answer that one.
To correct the record as it relates to your trust, as it relates to your estate. And that
you don't have a trust. You don't have an estate. There is nothing there. Nothing has been left behind for you by Drew Ali, by Drew Thomas, or whatever he wants to call himself. Nothing has been left behind for you at all.
And that is in relationship to trust law, constitutional law, and treaty law.
No, it doesn't. No, it's not. There is nothing in the treaty that says there's a trust for you. Now, what it does say is you have to have proof. You have to have documented proof. If you're going to come up in here and try to use the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, the Treaty of Enmity, and Commerce, okay? Commerce, and you try to say, oh, this is mine, prove it. You have to prove it. You have to prove it. You can't walk in with your quitclaim deed and say, see, it's mine. No. Where'd you get the money for it? Oh, it's in the trust. What trust? There is no trust called that. Where is your trust located? Who administers your trust? None of those questions can be answered because guess what? There is nothing in that trust. That trust doesn't exist. So again, you have nothing guaranteed by treaty law, constitutional law, international law, none of that. You have nothing.
So what's the purpose of this platform that I'm coming on? The purpose of it is to talk to the new Moors that are looking for nationality, wondering if
you don't have to look for nationality. You already have it. You already have nationality. You were born in the United States of America. When you're born here, we have what's called birthright citizenship. The soon as you're born, and you're born, you are an American citizen. That's how it works. There's no corporate fiction set up in your name. There's no straw man set up in your name. There's no estate set up in your name. There's no trust in your name. You are just a U.S. citizen, and you will enjoy the rights and privileges that brings. Protection under the Constitution of the United States, protection under the state constitution of where you were born at. But there is nothing at all anywhere. You already have nationality. I can't preach that enough. I would love to sit down with these people who think this and say, explain to me, where is this nationality coming from? Because you already have it. You're saying you're a foreign national. You're a Moor. You're part of the Moroccan Empire. Well, the Moroccan Empire doesn't exist. That's gone. And if you're a citizen of the Moroccan Empire, then you're not a United States citizen. So have you renounced your U.S. citizenship? Yes or no? Well, most definitely the answer is going to be no. And then my question is, well, wait, you're a citizen of the Moroccan Empire, right? So you have proof of that. You have documentation from Morocco that states you're a Moroccan citizen, because even if it's the empire, you're still a Moroccan. So do you have that proof? Because I bet if I take your name and I give it to the consulate in DC or New York, they're going to run it and say, no, this person is not a citizen, nor do they hold citizenship in the country or kingdom or empire of Morocco. That's the problem. That's the fallacy, the mysticism that was taught, that was written in that Circle 7 Quran, was this right here.
If nationality is something that they want to declare, and once declared, what the expectation is. The expectation is for you to complete tiers 1, 2, and 3, not
and make us $300, $400 by just filling out paperwork, and all we're going to do is put a little stamp signature and a red thumbprint on it.
For you to run to this Moorish agency, to this Moorish merchant, to this LLC corporation, to this place, and then come over here and hit our end bin as it relates to Moorish customer service, for the lack of a better, or national service as a lack of a better word, as it relates to, well, I just got detained. What do I do? Well, where are we at?
Well, if you got detained, you're going to go to jail. You broke the law. That's what's going to happen. You probably didn't want to listen. You watched stupid YouTube videos like this particular woman's and believed all this BS. You got pulled over. You tried the game. It failed on you. Your car got impounded. You got arrested. Now you got a criminal record because you tried to pass along a fake ID or a foreign ID that holds no sort of legality in this country.
In terms of the process, what have you declared, and how are you operating currently? Because I know a lot of Moors don't want to pay insurance, don't want to pay for the so-called tickets, because a lot of times your privileged driving and traveling are two completely different things.
Okay, so let me explain this, because driving and traveling, she's absolutely right. They're two different things. Traveling is your freedom of movement. Okay, that's all you have. You have freedom of movement. You have the right to travel. And if you read that in the Constitution, right? If you read that, it says you have the right to travel unencumbered between states. That's freedom of movement. That's what you have. That's where that right to travel thing comes from, because they cherry pick it. However, that's talking about your own two legs, your little feet moving you in whatever direction you so choose to go in. However, what they forget to tell you, and what they negate to tell you, is when you decide to get behind the wheel of whatever you want to call it, that hunk of steel with a motor in it that can get up to 100 miles an hour plus and can kill people in a blink of an eye. Well, when you get into one of those, we, the state, the county, the city, the township, the federal government, can regulate the use of that. and require training, testing, licensing, insurance, registration, because we want to make sure the people that are on the roadways are safe, competent. That driver's license, which it should actually be called an operator's license, which would really shut a lot of them up, is what says to us that, hey, this person has the base knowledge, understands, comprehends the safety, took driver's ed, did the requirements to pass, took the state driving test, took the road test and passed. And so they understand how important it is and to be safe behind the wheel. And, those same people are responsible, and they have vehicle insurance and they have registration. So they have a plate on their car. They're not contracts. As much as you want to think and say they're contracts, they're not. It is a privilege to put your Moorish ass inside of a 1 to 2 ton hunk of steel that can go down the road at over 100 miles an hour at any given time. That is a privilege. That is not a right. Your right is freedom of movement, to travel unencumbered between states. That is your constitutional right, not to get behind the car or the wheel of that hunk of steel. And it's not anywhere infringing on your rights at all. If you get pulled over for no insurance, no out of date driver's license, suspended driver's license, no insurance, registration, whatever it might be, because you think you're above the law, fictitious license plates. I think it's great cops are taking those off and destroying them because they're fictitious.
When you're traveling, that is your constitutional right as a national, but how are you going to sit here and call in and activate that authority as well as your treaty protected rights if your status is defective? Meaning
you have no treaty protected rights unless you're on board a ship. We just went over that. Treaty of Anonymity and Commerce has nothing to do with when you get behind the wheel of that hunk of steel. Nothing at all. She's absolutely 100% wrong. And I would love to have her on a live broadcast and debate that with her. She is 100% wrong in what she just stated.
If under tier 1, you haven't completed your status correction on the public and on the private side, whereas though they are now one and the same, right? As well as your declaration of trust, which is under tier 2, and then tier 3 is your more sovereign travel documentation as it relates to you putting on the public platform. I have a right to travel. I'm going to notify all individuals under this jurisdiction because get unlawfully detained, whereas though now you're unlawfully detained, you're contacting all these different Moorish agencies and
you're not unlawfully detained. You are lawfully detained because you broke the law. Yes, statutes and codes are laws. Okay? It's important.
Not answering the phone, or as it relates to you sitting here challenging the mortgage agreement that you have, which is the collateral that you have as it relates to so-called property acquisitions or even rental acquisitions.
No, sorry, you don't get to acquire anything. If you took out a mortgage, you got to pay the mortgage. There's no challenging the mortgage. You signed on the dotted line, regardless of El Bay, Ali, Bay Day, K, whatever you want to put in your name, you are responsible for that. And just because you think you changed your name, it does not get you out of that, because what happens is your original name that was given to you by your parents sticks with you. When you change your name, it does not erase all your debts. All your old identification sticks with that new ID. It does. You don't get a free clean pass because you changed your name. But again, she's wrong here as well.
positions. Now, it's okay to want to challenge specific contracts, but understand these albions operating these counties have been utilizing your states as abandoned lands for this entire time, and you haven't even put on anything on the public record to, one, validate that you have declared or proclaimed your status.
Wow, the land of make-believe.
Started. You get started by contacting by visiting the government website. Our government website, because of name recognition, is still titled as www.MoorishAmericanConsulate.org.
And it's not a real government. It's a fictitious government that they made up to, again, dupe people into believing that this stuff actually works. And it doesn't.
But we are the Moorish National Republic, federal government, Northeast and Mexican territories and dominions.
No, you're not, because nothing is called a Mexim. Nothing. You and all the ones that believe like you have no claim to anything. There's no inheritance. There's no estate. There's no nothing given to you or that is waiting for you.
That is who we are. That is what we've declared. That is what we've put out there and notified other agencies to the same under the United States Service Corporation as it relates to who we are.
Now, I want to cover this. You see how she said the United States Service Corporation? Now, I'm going to be doing a video on is the United States Corporation. And I'm going to tell you right now it's not. You know how many companies use United States or American or America in their title? Because there's nothing wrong with that. They can. We don't have a trade on the country's title of the United States of America. But what she just said is absolutely, again, incorrect. And we're going to be breaking down the documents that why this group and those of the soft sits believe that the United States is a corporation when it's not. So we'll let her continue. But again, I mean, she's batting 1,000 and being wrong. I mean, if being wrong was a job in commission base, she'd be making millions of dollars, because that's exactly what's happening. She is wrong.
Everything that we're doing in tier 1, 2, and 3, as well as tier 4, which is estate planning or dealing with adverse claims as it relates to charges against your estate. All of these things are necessary. You can't just sit there and do your nationality on the private side. So to complete my answering of your question is, you go to the government website, you go to tier 1 on the grid page, and you complete those documentations. You do them accurately, and then you watch the video to make sure you are completing and complying pursuant to how we've given you the directives as well as the procedures as it relates to getting that done. Now, what am I saying? What am I saying is, if you have driver's license, if you have, if you're identifying as the birth name Nam Degir, until you've done the name change petition within
your birth name is not Between Degir. It is the name that was given by your parents. Just like with my kids, my wife and I sat down. We looked at our family histories, our relatives, our generationally back, and we went way off the beaten path. But those are names. Your name is actually collaborative given to you by your parents. I heard one thing, somebody tried to say that the name that you have is not your name. It's the name that was given to you by the state. And I'm like, no. The name I was given to me by my mother and father, and that's just how it works. Again, if being wrong was a commission-based job, this woman is making millions of dollars in commission. Your name is your name. It was given to you by your parents. It wasn't given to you by the state. It wasn't given to you by any other government entity. It was given to you by the state. Or apologies. See what happens when you do this. It was given to you by your parents. Sometimes they act like the state warden.
In the county. Until you've done that on the private side, you are a national. On the public side, you still have a status as a so-called Black United States citizen, which is devoid.
Again, you're just a United States citizen. I don't know why this group keeps throwing color into it all the time. You're a United States citizen. I don't care what color you are. Be proud of the country you were born in.
Of status, which is what that is. You can have black power all you want. You can sit here and think Black Lives Matter all you want. Well, what is a black life? What is that? Do you understand linguistics?
So again, you see what she's doing. I've been listening to her this whole time, and it's very confusing. She talks in circles. She goes a little bit back. She makes a little progression over here, but then she switches gears, comes back, and goes back again. Now she's talking about color. Why? Why are you talking about color? Color has nothing to do with it. You know, for some reason, they do think because their skin is melanated that they're the chosen people. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I wish you'd look into my background. I'm Sicilian. Learn a little bit how we came about, and we blow your little group out of the water. Okay? Anyways, you're a United States citizen. You were born here. Your name was given to you by your mother and your father. Or maybe your mom had the good sense. Your dad wanted to name you some weird-ass thing, or vice versa. And that's your name. It wasn't given to you by anybody else. You're an American, United States American citizen. You are a United States of American national. You're an American national because this is your country. This is where you were born. Okay? You're also a state citizen, a state national for the state you live in. Okay? So that's a great thing, because when we move from state to state, once we move, we get their driver's license, we get our car registered, we get a home or an apartment. Guess what? We're a state national. We are a resident of that state. That's where we live now. And we're happy to be part of that state. And that's how we do things. This is nothing. It's literally a mush up of every little lie she could get her hands on, or old ass law from back in the 1600s, and put it all together and said, hey, let's share this gobbledygook with everybody because we know how to confuse you. And that's what it is. It's a game of confusion, that word salad.
Do you understand what it is that they're saying? No, most people really don't. Black lives matter, but there is no such thing as a black life. You have a nationality, you have a status.
There is. I mean, again, yes, on applications, and it's starting the move. I wish they just take it off, because I don't think it matters. I don't care what color your skin is. I really don't care what nationality you are, because what they start doing is saying, well, are you more than two of these nationalities? Are you from this group? I don't care. To me, honestly, that holds no bearing on a job application, or if you're going to get a job or not, or a position in an apartment. That doesn't matter to me. Okay, it really doesn't. I think they do that because the federal government requires those kind of numbers, and I think the state does too, because they do it by population density, by race, and they use race as color. So it is what it is. I don't believe somebody's an Italian American. The only people I look at as Italian Americans or British Americans or Australian Americans is somebody that comes over here from one of those countries, and not only do they have the Australian citizenship or Italian citizenship, but they also got their American citizenship, and they became American citizens. And that's the great thing, is becoming an American citizen, you do not have to give up your citizenship to the other country. However, when you're in this country as an American citizen, you have to follow all our laws and codes and statutes and regulations and whatever else we have that we have to follow. And again, people bring that up. Without law, we'd have anarchy. We would. The laws keep people. I'm not going to say keeps them down or keeps them slaves, but it helps regulate what people do. It helps deter the evilness that's in some people. Or, you think about it, it's like, man, if I punch that guy in the face, that's assault with intent. Okay, I could lose my job, go to jail. Yep, nope, don't want to do that. It's kind of like a check and balance. You think about it. It's like, yeah, I can do that. But if I do, and he calls the cops, I'm going to jail for assault. And I'll probably spend the night there, and I'll ruin my life and my career. So you look at that, and you're like, no, Not a good idea. Some people don't think about that till after the fact, and they're like, "Oh shit, I'm screwed," and they end up in jail and they ruin their life because of something stupid. It's the same thing. Laws are meant to check your consciousness and say, "Do I really want to drink and drive? Do I really want to ruin my life? Do I really want to have the potential of potentially killing myself and somebody else on the road? Nope, don't want that." Checks and balances. That's how I look at the laws in our country. Checks and balances.
You need to claim it, and you need to learn what you need as it relates to administrative processes. Because once you get your name change petition through the name change decree, then you will make changes as it relates to your estate, whereas though the private and the public.
So you have to file a name change decree. Well, no. If you want to legally change your name, you go right down to the courthouse where you live, and there's actually a forum on the internet. Let's see, how to legally change my name. Do it yourself online for $29.95. There's a form, a name change form, legal name change, 3-step process. There's another one here by findlaw.com that family marriage, how to legally petition to change your name by filing out a name change form in order to show cause for legally changing your name and a decree to legally change your name. Take these forms to the court clerk and file them along with your states requiring filing fees. In most cases, a judge or magistrate will review your forms and grant the name change. Some states require a more formal advertisement before you use your new name, which is done simply by posting a notice in the local paper, and then use your new name. So that's pretty much how you do it. You don't have to, again, you file some decree, you're going to have to pay for it regardless for it to legally take effect. But when you change your name, okay, I want to make you aware of something. When you change your name, there is so much that goes along with it. I'll give you a perfect example. When my wife and I got married and she changed her last name, Social Security had to be changed. They had to amend her number to show her married name. Okay, that takes time. You have to make sure at that point you're going to get another driver's license. All your credit cards have to change. You have to let them know of your name change. Send them that document that shows that your name is legally changed. There is a mound of stuff that happens. But when you legally change your name, what happens is, like I said, is they take all the stuff that was behind your original name and slap it right behind the new name. So you're not going to get out of paying your car note, your house note, your bills, okay? Because they know who you are. And if you try to play that game, well, no one here by that name lives there. Yeah, it does, because it's an alias now for you. In the system, it's an alias for you. It automatically gets updated. It's an alias. Not only that, but now you got to go to the hospital and the doctors and have your name changed there, and they have to go through that process to create an alias, to load your old medical record in with your new one because you changed your name because you thought it did something when it really doesn't. It's a cheap way to try to circumvent the system, but you're going to get caught and end up in prison. So have fun with that.
Match, as long as in the interim you're getting your trust done, you're declaring it, you're activating it by getting a foreign EIN number, and you're handling your business as it relates to tax issues.
So how are you going to get a foreign EIN number? You don't have a corporation overseas. You're not a foreign national. You don't have any property or land over here that you're buying as a foreign national because you're not a foreign national. Again, she starts going down this path. Now, she has talked about the trust in your name and your status. That's all it's been about. There's been no direction. There's been no introduction. She hasn't shown any of the forms. She hasn't shown the website. How to obtain a, let's see here, foreign EIN. To obtain an EIN as an international applicant, you must call the IRS and press the appropriate number for the menu to receive a foreign EIN. Just be aware that this isn't a toll-free number, and the hours of operation are 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. So that's through one website. International applicants. Okay. So what you have to do is if you're going to apply for a foreign EIN, okay? There's some hoops you got to run through. This isn't just a, this isn't just, I mean, right here, there's the international businesses, where you get a Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, tax treaties. But guess what? The United States does not have a treaty with the Empire of Morocco. So you might want to do some research before you decide to go ahead and attempt to get a foreign EIN. It is not as easy as it sounds. It's actually much more difficult.
Issues. Everything we deal with is a tax issue if there is no injured party. So if they're trying to charge you.
No, that is not true. No. If you get pulled over, okay, I'm going to explain this to you. Not every crime needs an injured party. Getting a traffic ticket does not require an injured party. Getting pulled over for speeding does not require an injured party. If you want to get technical, the injured party are the citizens of that city, town, county, state that you're driving like an idiot in, okay, or driving with fictitious plates, or driving without insurance, or driving on a suspended driver's license. Those people are the potential injured party right there because you're causing an unsafe driving environment. They are not tax issues, okay? A traffic ticket is not a tax issue at all. Again, she's making millions in commission if being wrong was a job.
With a tax, there are processes to cancel that. I was like, so I didn't come on this platform to go deep into processes.
She hasn't gone into any process.
Call was in relationship to Moore's wondering, well, how do I identify? You're overthinking everything because you've been acting as a consumer. You don't know how to not consume, right? Even though there's nothing wrong with so-called consuming, to be the beneficiary, not necessarily the debtor, because you are not a debtor.
Yes, you are a debtor. You are more than likely. The reason why you're going this route is because there's two reasons. The first one is you're a cheapskate. You're a crook. You're trying to figure out ways to get out of not paying your car note, your house note, whatever. You think this is going to save you, but in the long run, it's not. You're going to end up in jail. Car's going to get impounded. You're going to be evicted. The other side of it, the other reason why you would be doing this or looking at this is because life has just dealt you the worst hand possible. You're down on your luck. You're having issues paying your bills or whatever it might be. It's just a horrible hand that you're being dealt. And so this sounds like the way to go. You're like, oh, wow, if I do this and I fill out this paperwork and I get this done, and I claim these tiers, and I change my name and I do this, then all this goes away. That sounds really great. But after you waste all this time and money with this chica here and her friend, you're not going to get your money back. I guarantee you there is something in their filings that states that there's no refund. I'm looking through the paperwork right now, and I mean, just weird shit. The lawful notice of appellation declaration correction PDF printed on 8.5 by 14 legal printer paper in color, because again, they need that red ink. I'm just looking at stuff. That's a cost. Complete name change decree, civil complaint in probate court, i.e. Court of Equality, the original county your child was born. Name change decree document, political status, classified, truth, A1, freeholder by inheritance. That is nothing. That doesn't even exist. I think they made that up just because it sounds good. They're talking a 1099 form and then form 101. Again, I don't know. And then correct the record, standard form 181, U.S. Office of Personnel Management, race and national origin identification. You wouldn't send anything to there. It more likely is going to get lost. Now, here's what's really odd in all this correction of records. You're going to ask for an application for a Social Security card. If you're changing your status, why would you need a Social Security card? And then, again, once you have completed this process, you will be emailed a binder, newly nationalized Moors, which is a compilation of essential documents and files that will assist you on your way to knowing the truth about Moorish history, basically fake bullshit. Again, they have all donations and Aladile processing costs are to be sent through PayPal or Cash Me. So I'm going to tell you right now, and then money order made out to Fatima Yasmin El Bazir Bey, another screwed up individual in the head. So through PayPal.me and Cash.me, you'll never get a refund on that. And if you send a money order, once it's cash, you're screwed because that's like sending cash. Send nationality documents for sealing and MAC verification to the following mailing locations. So you're going to send this to her. She, whatever. And this is a P.O. box because they don't do anything to the physical location, but I believe we found them. And so that's what they want you to do. So you're going to pay money. And again, you know, it sounds good. It all sounds so good on paper. You know, it's just unreal how they're going to screw you guys. And that's the sad part. That is, you know, you're going to believe this and and again, it sounds good. It makes you think you just got out of a bunch of stuff, but it's an ugly road either way you take it.
Express that enough. We have classes on Tuesday. Those Tuesday classes is to help Moors to get their tiers done. We have classes that talk about the Declaration of Trust that are in the calendar. A lot of this information we give to those Moors who do come to the class, or if you later after the fact go view those classes as it relates to the government website. Now, as it relates to public notifications, if you did not declare and proclaim your nationality through this government, and if we do not have a treaty relationship, which we do not currently have with any other Moorish sovereign government, you have to go through them for public notifications until we get that type of agreement or that type of treaty with other Moorish governments to provide that service for all Moors under the empire. And
okay, one, the empire doesn't exist. Two, you're saying there's not just one government. You're saying there's several of these Moorish governments. So wait a minute. You're telling me you're out here operating, doing your thing, making your money, but because you don't have an agreement or a quote unquote treaty with, say, the USAR, who is the United States American Republic, or United States of American Republic, that you guys can't talk to one another. I mean, what it is it's competition. There are so many. I mean, you got Nettie and her fake Empress BS. You got this chick here and her friend who think they're running some magical, mystical government through a consulate, which doesn't exist. It looks like their home or apartment is what they're using for this. That's why they have a P.O. box. And so many tiers. I in all my life to get into this, why would you want to fill out all that paperwork? Considering how easy it was to become a United States citizen. I mean, I was born, birthright citizenship. I don't have to file any of that. Yeah, at 16, I took driver's ed, got my driver's license at 17. Good to go. Boom, done. I didn't have to file 15 different forms and notify 37 different agencies. It's so much work, and just listening to her talk is confusing. She keeps talking in circles. It's something they teach managers, to where when an employee asks a question, when is this going to be done, or when are we going to hear about this, the manager talks around the issue. Doesn't talk about the issue, talks around the issue. And that's all she did this whole entire video, is talked around the issue. She says it's an introductory. Well, in every introductory class I've always had, I've always been given good information. I couldn't hear anything. She should have been shown documents and saying, hey, we're going to talk about the intro to changing your nationality and your status correction. So I'm going to show you today the first 3 tiers and the paperwork you need to get done to be able to change your status. So let's start with tier 1. Here we go. And you got to start with this document. This is what this document means. And then you go to this document. She didn't do any of that. She just kept talking in circles, because what she wants to have done at the end is she wants you to then email her or call her. They have a phone number on that site, which I'm sure probably goes to some web-based free service, because they don't pay for anything. Everything is free. The video conferencing system they use is one of the worst ones out there. It can be hacked very easily. They depend on your money, because what they're going to tell you is say, hey, you're filing this for the first time. Well, it's $35 for this. It's $25 for this. It's $5 for this. And that's just for tier 1. That's your cost for tier 1. Now you got to go over to tier 2, do that paperwork, and it's going to cost you the same thing. Oh, plus this and this now to file those. It's nothing more than a money-making scheme. It's probably one of the biggest Ponzi schemes out there. And I'll conclude with what's on my mind.
We are open. We are waiting for those communications, because Moors, we have to come together. We have to secure and protect and defend each other. No one else is going to do that. There is no one coming to save you but yourself. And you're going to save yourself by not keep going from this person to this person to this person to this person to this agency to this organization, and they're providing you with these documentations, but you don't even know it.
Jesus Christ.
This is becoming very irritating.
And I say this.
I have to say this. She did that whole this agency, that agency, this person. She did that like 6 times in the video. You did it once. We understand. You did it once.
Stuff with love. So as it relates to everything that you're doing, you're going to have, if you look at any of those so-called credit reports, you have all of these accounts that you have to discharge, all of these accounts that you have to either cancel or claim or do different.
Wow, the land of make-believe.
Which is why you have to go to.
You are not going to discharge those accounts. If you owe money to those people, they will hunt you down. Okay, you can't discharge your mortgage when you still owe money on your mortgage. You can't discharge your car note if you still owe money on your car note. It's not how it works. Again, there's no legal power here. Okay, you can send all the letters you want to GMC Credit Finance. I think they use PennyMac, and say, because of this status, this account is discharged and paid off via my trust. Charge it to this. They're not going to do that. What they're going to do is they're going to take that letter over to their legal team, and their legal team's going to look at it and say, yeah, that's bullshit. Write them back this letter and tell them they still owe the money. You're not going to get a cakewalk. You're just not. You're not.
The counties to declare your independence from their administration because of their breach of duty and their breach of trust. But you can't hold them to a constitution if your negative status is an issue. And there's 3 classes on the.
So I'm going to tell you right now, I can hold my county to the fire. I can hold them accountable when they screw up. I don't have to take your course. I don't have to announce some new status. If I see somebody in my county worker doing something wrong, I'm going to call them out on it. I'm going to go and find out who their supervisor is, and I'm going to make a complaint if it's worth a complaint. That's plain and simple. You don't have to change status or any of that crap. You have that ability now. That's the great thing. You don't have to pay somebody. You hear there's 3 classes that explain that. 3 classes. What the hell are you talking about? 3 classes of BS is what she's peddling.
Government website under the erudite lessons page that talk about the issues as it relates to your status. And the Dred Scott case is the best case to talk about as it relates to that. If you are not a national.
The Dred Scott case is older than dirt and has nothing to do with modern times and does nothing for anybody. Good thing they point that out. They always point that out.
You are a so-called quasi-citizen subject to any law or any code, statutes, or ordinance they would like to bestow upon you. This is about unity, Moors. This is about us putting our due process in. So when we get to the point where we all together are competent enough to go and put our grievances into the international community, but we can't do that with individuals who ain't got past tier 1, partly past tier 2, and then ain't did nothing as it relates to tier 3 or 4. And
because you got to get paid for that, Moors. She's got to get paid. She's peddling fake paperwork for you. You know, this is like back in the day when I was in middle school, you know, teacher would send home a note, you know, that, or in elementary school, that note was paper clipped to your jacket or pinned, and you'd open it up and you would try your damnedest on every blank piece of paper to forge your parents' signature so they didn't see it. That's what this is. She is selling you fictitious paperwork. She's telling you, we gotta come together. You gotta come together and buy my stuff. That's what she's telling you because she wants to make a buck off you. That's all it is. She ain't there for your freedom and your status change and breaking you away from this, which won't happen anyways because you still fall under the state's jurisdiction and you still fall under the county and the city you live in. It's all about money. This is cha-ching to them. That's why they're doing this video.
Understand that there's going to be situations where you're already in the thick of it. You're already having attacks against your estate. Well, then you got to.
There's no way to attack an estate unless you're attacking property, and you don't have property. You don't have an estate waiting for you in some fictitious imaginary land.
You gotta push that gas and go a little faster. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you declare and proclaim your nationality and you get your nationality documents back in the mail along with your identification cards, those are for you because the individual who forgot who they were you. They always known who you are. They still know who you are. And all public lands are under mortgage agreements because no Moorish American national through a sovereign theocratic government has claimed it.
That's not true either. Public land is owned usually by the township, the city, the county, the state, or the Fed. And they're not in mortgage, none of that. So again, they can't provide proof to this. They talk about it. Provide proof. Show me proof. You just said they're all under a mortgage. Show proof. She never will show proof because she has no proof. There's no documents except something they make up, and that they're good at that. That's what I'm saying. You look at the template and some of this stuff; it's impressive. I'm impressed. Their copy and paste skills are on point. But what she's just said again is a lie. They are not held in a mortgage. They are owned by the city or the county or the state or the township. They're all over the place. Those parks that you see, the playgrounds that are out there, public gathering areas, those are all maintained by the city. And yes, the city owns them. They hold the title, the deed for that piece of property. And what's funny is if you look at how a city's designed, and we'll get back, her video is almost over, but if you get back to look how a city's designed and built, they always put green spaces. Okay, they always say, here's a park here. We're going to put a lake here, a pond here. We're going to put this over here. That's all city land. Now, what happens is if a city wants to grow and they have all this land, but no houses or stores or things, what will happen is private entities will come in, Walmart, apartment owner, complex company, builders for community will come in and say, hey, we'll buy this property from you. We want to buy this. And here's our offer. And if they like it, they'll sell it to them. And then they get the deed transferred over to them. You know, now they own the property. And then what happens is they come in and they have lots for sale. So people come in, they buy them, and they pull out a loan and they buy the property. So now they own, there's a new title created that partition of land belongs to them. Their house is going to be built. They'll have a title for the house and a title for the land. They own it all. So that's how that works. And again, being wrong was a job based on commission. She's making the money. Woo.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm going to post this video on the government website so you can understand that you're going to do nothing until you can do something. So you're not going to be traveling around without the so-called driver's license if you're not.
It's not so-called. You do need it. It is a state law. If you get caught without one, you can be ticketed, arrested. Your car can be impounded. Or they can just write you off a warning. Say, look, I'm giving you a warning, letting you know I wouldn't be doing it. If you get caught, c'est la vie. If you get caught by somebody who's not as nice as I am today, you're probably going to end up getting the car towed, or you're going to go to jail for driving without a license. Or you'll get a ticket and told not to drive. And if you drive again, they'll ticket you again and impound the car. And I think at that point they can arrest you. So those they're not fictitious. You do need those.
A national. And if you haven't nationalized through a sovereign theocratic government, you're still under a privilege to drive because you don't have the right to travel.
No, she's wrong again. Okay. She has to have somebody write these scripts, because every time I've listened to her talk, it's amazing how convincing is really to these people. Okay, first off, you always have a right to travel. That's not based on nationality. Okay, in the United States, based off our Constitution, you have the right to travel. Now, what that is travel unencumbered between states. It's called freedom of movement. Yes, you have the right to travel. Freedom of movement. That's what you have. Driving a automobile, or whatever you want to call it, is a privilege. Okay? Again, we already went through this. You're jumping in a 1 to 2 ton hunk of steel and barreling down the road. You can barrel down the road at over 100 miles an hour in these things. You can kill people. You can maim people. You can cause serious property damage. Okay? But yes, traveling and driving are two different things. However, you do them both at the same time when you're in a car, because driving is a action verb. Okay? Driving, operating, you're still controlling that car. So you're operating it. You're making it move forward. You have to press the gas pedal, right? You have to hit the brake, put it in drive or reverse, whichever way you're going for whatever reason. You got to hit the gas. You got to activate the gas and the brake. And if you got to stick, the clutch, right? So that means you're operating it. Okay? Guess what? Driving is a synonym for operating and vice versa. So again, what just came out her mouth, 100% wrong. 110% wrong at this point.
And understanding what a right to travel is your constitutional right, but you got to be a party to that constitution and that treaty, and what makes you a party.
Again, the treaty has nothing to do with it. I already did a video on it. These two things are going to go hand in hand. Trust me. That treaty deals only with shipping and ports and commerce. Has nothing to do with the roadways. Nothing. Again, bullshit. I would love to know what version of, or what modified version of the treaty they're looking at. Because yes, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship is still in effect today. We're actually really good friends with the Kingdom of Morocco and the people of Morocco. However, the same articles in that treaty are still in effect, but nowhere in that treaty, we've looked at them both, does it say you get out of traffic laws? You do not have to obey the laws of the United States of America. And yes, you have full access to the Constitution. That is your right. You don't have to claim any nationality. You don't have to change your status. None of that shit. You were born in the United States. You get the benefits of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence. That's all there is to it. She's full of shit.
Party to that Constitution and that treaty is your nationality as a declared Moorish American national. Not going to Q6 because we're here talking about what is nationality, why is nationality important, and what do you do, how do you operate? You operate the same way. The only difference is your control of your estate as opposed to somebody else administering your estate for you.
The land of make-believe.
As it relates to your estate.
You have no estate. Nobody's administering your estate, and you're not going to take control of anything. There is nothing waiting for you. This is, I can't say it enough. I think I said it 100 times during this video. You can't. Oh. If you could see me now, I'm literally holding my head in my hands because, oh, it hurts. It hurts so much right up here, right at the top of my head, because I mean, oh my God, the determination in her face, the convincing look, believe me in what I say. I mean, she is so convincing. The day this video came out was the 28th, so 2 days ago, because it's now the 30th. The people watching this, I mean, I bet she had them glued. I bet they were sitting there with pen and pad writing the same damn thing over and over again because the same damn thing has come out of her mouth 30 times. But man, is she trying to sell this.
And we have all the law on the website to talk about that. So please share this video with other Moors or undeclared Moors who are looking for nationality, don't know how they're quite going to operate. Just realize every application.
So I'm just going to tell you, I brought her out. I brought out of that. We were, whoops, sorry about that. I couldn't listen to her anymore. Pun on words there. And so, like I was saying, she is peddling this shit so well that the people, I think when I saw this video, 452 people viewed it. Now, I wonder how many people like myself have viewed this to laugh at it. But a good majority of these people believe this stuff. And that's the sad part. They honestly, truly believe this. And she's leading them astray. You're going to spend probably a couple $1,000s getting through all those different tiers. And I'm going to make a series out of the tiers of becoming a MOOP, because there's 9 of these things. There's 9. And every time you're probably going to have to pay something to get them signed, sealed, recognized, notarized, whatever. You're probably, by the time you're done, you'll probably spend over $2,000-$3,000. I'm going to tell you right now, if you are somebody thinking about joining this and you see this video come across, I'm telling you, don't join this group. There's other cults that you could join that are so much better. At least they tell you what they're going to do. This one here is very misdirection. They believe in mysticism. And it's definitely not the group you want to join. So I am done. I appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching this video. I know it went long, hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. But again, I thank you all for tuning in and watching. And I just need to say, we are done. Clinic's closed. Doc's going home. Have a great one, everybody. Stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one.